Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Couch Media Corps channel. My name is Andres and I hope everybody's doing good out there. Before we get into today's video, you know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe if at any point you like this video. And also follow social media accounts for more updates and news on all things nerd and cinema. Instagram is at the Couch Media Corps and Twitter is at Couch Media Corps. So yeah, we got a ton of DC news to get into, so let's jump right into it. So here we are, DC fans, we are panicking. We got a shit ton of, well actually I'm not panicking about some of the rumors, but we got a lot of rumors and speculations about the future of DC and a lot of DC cancellations, possibly some recastings, things like that. Granted, a lot of this stuff is just speculation and rumors, so take this with a grain of salt. None of it has been confirmed by James Gunn or Peter Safran, so don't panic too much. It might not be true in the end. But yeah, let's get into this article basically explaining the future of DC films. And the biggest one probably is that Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 not moving forward as DC movies hits turning point. That's pretty crazy. This, honestly, I'm not too mad at. I'm not even, this one I'm actually kind of happy about. Because after what we saw in Wonder Woman 84, I kind of never wanted to see Patty Jenkins take on Wonder Woman ever again, honestly. The only issue with that is that I hope that they still use the character of Wonder Woman moving forward in the DC universe. And I actually really like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, at least in the first one. So I hope they don't recast her, but if they do recast her, I'm not gonna be too mad. But yeah, the article continues to say that multiple sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 is not moving forward and is considered dead in its current incarnation. Sources say that Jenkins recently submitted her treatment, co-written with Jeff Johns, that Gunn and Safran, as well as Warner Bros. Pictures co-chairs and CEO Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdy, broke the news to the filmmaker, telling her the project as it stood did not fit in with the new but still unfolding plans. No decision has been made about the next steps. That's pretty crazy, man. I kind of feel bad for Patty Jenkins, but also that was a piece of shit movie that she turned in Wonder Woman 84. So you lost everything with me, man. But yeah, since then there's been a couple updates on this specific article. The Wrap actually reported that Jenkins walked off the project on her own, and reportedly this had to do with the fact that the filmmaker's vision for the third entry in the film series didn't match Warner Bros. It says that it got heated. One insider stated that Jenkins' position was that DeLuca and Adby knew they were wrong, that they didn't understand her, didn't understand the character, didn't understand the character arcs, and didn't understand what Jenkins was trying to do. Jenkins also added that she wasn't interested in pitching another version of the movie, and her script treatment was the only one she wanted to do. To stress her point, Jenkins reportedly included a Wikipedia link that explained the concept of the character arc to DeLuca. Damn, that's some spicy shit. She seems like she's not budging on anything. I mean, they gave her the opportunity to make another movie, but I also heard that the script that she had laid out was supposedly gonna resurrect Chris Pine's character, Steve Trevor, again. And somehow like put him in the Lazarus pit and bring him back to life some way, somehow. And that would include the League of Assassins in the third movie. I'm not sure how that would happen because I'm not sure how his body would have survived all those years after it fucking blew up in that airplane. But we'll never know. So also, if you don't know what the Lazarus Pit is, I mean, I'm pretty sure Lazarus Pit is known by a lot of people in mythos and stuff like that, but it's basically a pool that brings back whoever goes into it back from the dead, but it comes with some negative effects sometimes. But yeah, that sounds like kind of a horrible script to me, honestly. I definitely don't want to see Steve Trevor again. He died, just let him die. In Wonder Woman 84, he came back in a weird way. Took over some innocent dude's body, and then basically Wonder Woman raped him, that guy. So like, it was crazy. It was that shit was a fucking mess, that movie. But yeah, man, I'm glad that they're not gonna move forward with this, honestly. They also said that they gave Jenkins an opportunity to rewrite the script, but from the looks of it, she's not budging. She doesn't want to rewrite it, so she walked off the project. So yeah, no more Wonder Woman 3. Like I said before, I just hope they don't completely wipe out the character of Wonder Woman, because I do love the character of Wonder Woman. So my only hope is that they just get some better writers and better directors to expand her universe and make it interesting and also dope, you know? Like, that's all I want these characters to do, man, is just be fucking awesome, man. And treated with respect. All right, the rest of the article continues to say that the rest of the DC slate remains in flux, or at least is being kept deep in a pocket of Gunn's own utility belt, but there are several rumors and possible scenarios to consider ahead of next week's meeting. The first, which builds on the shuttering of Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3, is the closing curtain of the Snyderverse, and the heroes cast by filmmaker Zack Snyder for his Justice League. This one sees the shutting down of Man of Steel 2, with a returning Henry Cavill, and having no more Aquaman fronted by Jason Momoa. Characters are to cameo in Flash, the highly anticipated time travel adventure movie that is due to release June 16. Cavill shot his part of a cameo in September, but sources stated there's a debate inside the studio as whether or not to keep the cameo and if its inclusion promising something that the studio would have no plans on delivering. Some of that news is pretty damn sad, honestly. And the sad one, I mean, is Henry Cavill won't be Superman anymore. I hope that's not true, man. That's honestly, out of this whole article, I hope that's the only one that's not true. Like, I don't know, man. Henry Cavill as Superman is just the best to me. To me, is my personal opinion. You know, I know the Snyderverse is all over the map when it comes to people's emotions. People hate it, people love it, people, you know, are lukewarm about it, or people are just whatever, I don't care. But me, personally, I love the Snyderverse. He created one of my favorite superhero movies in Man of Steel. I think that's one of the best comic book movies ever made. And I think that portrayal of Superman is just fucking amazing. But yeah, that will be probably the saddest news ever, since we just got him back. He was so excited to be in Black Adam and get the cameo, and you know, for him to ultimately come back. And it also seemed like he left The Witcher to pursue more Superman roles, and just for that to be stripped away because he's a part of the Snyderverse, and they're trying to, like, you know, reboot the whole brand. That shit would suck, man, honestly. Henry Cavill he's great, man. You can keep him as Superman, but just get him some good writers, get him some good directors, and you can plan out an amazing story using him as Superman. He can play it. He loves the character. He loves being the character. He embodies the character. So, like, don't get rid of him, please. The other part of that little story about Aquaman being no more, I'm not too mad about. Honestly, I have no connection to Jason Momoa being Aquaman. His solo movie, I freaking hated. I didn't like it. I hated that movie. It wasn't because of him. It was more of how it was written and how it was executed, and a million different tones of the movie, and it was just shit. But his portrayal in the Snyder Cut, I did enjoy. But it's all, at the end of the day, it's like he just doesn't scream Arthur to me, Arthur Curry, Aquaman. So if they recasted him, I wouldn't be mad. I do love Jason Momoa, so this next little piece in the article is actually even better for me if it does happen. It says that Momoa, meanwhile, could emerge as a pivotal figure in the new plans. According to several sources, in one scenario, the actor would wrap up his days as underwater hero Arthur Curry with Lost City. They messed up right there. That's a typo. It's not Lost City. Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom. That's the title of the movie. So take this whole fucking article with a grain of salt. But it continues to say, due out December 25th, 2023, which would be the final movie release that was made by the previous regiment. But it would not spell the end of the actor's involvement with DC, with sources saying the actor would lead another movie or franchise. Character of Lobo, a foul-mouthed cigar-chomping intergalactic bounty hunter, has been mentioned in connection with Momoa. That would be amazing. Come on. He already looks like Lobo. You just gotta paint him white, put some black stripes here, give him some red contacts, and you got Lobo. Bam, perfect, right? Also, Jason Momoa has expressed that he wanted to play Lobo for the longest. I remember, like, in a behind-the-scenes video of Batman vs Superman, he was talking about how he got casted in that movie, and he was expecting to be casted as Lobo. He thought he was going to go in to read for the part of Lobo. But to his surprise, Zack Snyder had told him he had been casted as Aquaman. So that tells you right there that he always thought he was going to be Lobo. He showed interest in being Lobo. And even recently, he posted up a video, and I think he took it down on his Instagram. Super ecstatic that his dream DC project was being developed. Has some connections in here. There's also been a couple of interviews after that during, like, a press junket for Slumberland, one of his movies on Netflix. And he was saying that, you know, he's happy with James Gunn being on board, and that, you know, he has a lot of plans for the future, and that there's a DC project that his dream project is being in development. So who knows what that is, but if it turns out to be Lobo, that'll be perfect. I'm not mad at that. I would love to see that more than I would love to see him continue as Arthur Curry, Aquaman. So please, that one I want to happen. That rumor, please be true. All right, let's get into more of the article. So this part is where Black Adam comes into play. Also, unlikely is a sequel to Black Adam. Yes! Yeah, man. Before I continue with this article, man, Black Adam was one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my life. And honestly, it was one of the worst movies ever made. No movie has pissed me off like Black Adam. That was a piece of shit. Man, that was bad. I'm so glad that it won't happen. I'm hoping that this turns out to be true, that there's no sequel to Black Adam, because what they did to that character is just fucking god awful. The Rock's portrayal as Black Adam was so fucking whack. They were pushing him to be a hero so hard, man. That shit was annoying to me. The writing was fucking terrible. The only good thing about the movie was the visuals. They were pretty nice, and the action scenes were pretty cool. But it was a whole bunch of nothing happening in that movie, man. The pacing was fucking terrible. Hawkman looked amazing, but the way they wrote him was so fucking on the nose whack. Like, it's just like one of those old ass 70s action movies where he was saying like good versus evil and you're the bad guy and that type of shit, like old ass 70s, old ass like 40s comics dialogue. Dr. Fate was perfect, but they also changed up his character a little bit too much, where it kind of affected my experience watching him. Every time he took off his helmet, I was just so fucking pissed. Because if you know the character of Dr. Fate, he cannot take off his helmet because he is basically possessed by the helmet, and the helmet is Nabu, is a cosmic being of limitless magic. So him taking off his helmet was annoying. Like, I don't even know if they mentioned Nabu in the movie, and spoiler, but they killed him off at the end, so that was annoying as fuck too. Cyclone and Atom Smasher were just kind of useless characters. They barely had any screen time. Atom Smasher was just like a fucking giant Deadpool. That movie was so bad, man. That pisses me off. I'm getting mad right now just thinking about it. I'm not gonna do a whole fucking movie review right now about it, but I do hope that this turns out to be true, that Black Adam 2 doesn't get made, because fuck that movie. Yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff happening in the DC universe, man, with Gunn and Safran taking over and basically rewriting the whole course of the DC movie slate and planning it out. They're supposed to meet the CEO of Warner Discovery, David Zaslav, next week. So I guess we'll find out then if all this stuff turns out to be true. One thing I do got to comment on about what I like about Gunn is that he's kind of being very transparent with the fans. He actually took to Twitter after this article came out, because Twitter and the DC world was up in flames. Everybody was panicking. they had like hashtags of like fire James Gunn and all that shit going. So he actually took to Twitter and said a couple words. Let me read the tweets that he came out with. So, as for the story yesterday in the Hollywood Reporter, some of it's true, some of it is half true, some of it is not true, and some of it we haven't decided yet whether it's true or not. Although this first month at DC has been fruitful, building the next 10 years of story takes time, and we're still just beginning. Peter and I chose to helm DC Studios knowing we were coming into a fractious environment, both in the stories being told and in the audience itself. And there will be an unavoidable transitional period as we moved into telling a cohesive story across film, TV, animation, and gaming. But in the end, the drawback of that transitional period were dwarfed by creative possibilities and opportunity to build upon what has worked in DC so far and to help rectify what has not. We know we are not going to make every single person happy every step of the way, but we can promise everything we do is done in the service of the story, emphasis on story, and in the service of the DC characters, emphasis on DC characters. We know you cherish and we have cherished our whole lives. As for more answers about the future of the DCU, I will sadly have to ask you to wait. We are giving these characters and stories the time and attention they deserve, and we ourselves still have a lot more questions to ask and answer. So, me personally, I like that tweet. Something that we haven't got in the past necessarily. We've really been kept in the dark when it came to future projects at DC and things like that. And Gunn has been very interactive with the fans on Twitter. He's answered a lot of questions that people ask all the time. So I like this tweet. It kind of reassures you that they're trying their hardest to create an amazing DC universe. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not worried, because Gunn, although he's created some amazing movies, superhero movies, I don't want his tone for the entire DC universe, you know? Some characters aren't goofy as fuck like the way he makes them. He does have a way with making you care about these characters in the end of the movie, and he does make fun movies. Granted, we're acting like he's gonna direct and fucking write all these movies. Like, he's not. Obviously, he's gonna direct some here and there, but he's just basically planning it out. We're gonna get different directors, different writers, different producers, different composers to make these movies. So he's not gonna be in charge of all that shit. He's not making every single one. So, you know, I personally have some hope for it, for the DC future. We'll see what happens. Take all this stuff with a grain of salt. None of this has been confirmed by James Gunn or anything like that. We're gonna have to wait a week or so when they have that meeting to see what the future of DC is gonna be. My only wish for the future of DC is that we get the Green Lanterns back, okay? Got Green Lantern tatted here, got a shit ton of Green Lantern comics up there, and I need them to be included in the DC universe. At one point, the Lanterns were the focal point in the DC comic universe. I think during the New 52 era, like, a lot of the stories revolved around them, and I love them so much. Please give us Hal Jordan, please give us John, make room for Kyle, Guy, all the different lanterns, Sinestro, the blue lanterns, all that stuff. It's so amazing. It's an amazing world that they can build out and make so appealing to fans. That's my only wish for the future. And James Gunn, if you're looking at this, please do that, man. Get my lanterns back into the fucking DC live action world. But yeah, ton of stuff happening. DC fans, hang in there. Don't panic. Take all of these articles with a grain of salt. All of it's just rumors and speculation right now. None of it has been confirmed by James or Safran. So let's just wait until the meeting happens and we actually get an official slate for the DC universe, whether it's TV, movies, film, all that good stuff. Let's let's wait until we get that, and then after we get that and we don't like it, then we can panic. All right? Sounds like a deal. Because some of y'all motherfuckers is going crazy on Twitter, man. Like, yo, fire this guy, fire that guy. Yo, bring back Zack Snyder, all that shit. Like, yo, it's crazy, man. Relax, man. None of this shit is true until it's true. You know what I mean? So let's just keep our fingers crossed that the planning of this benefits us, the fans, and that they make some interesting stuff. But yeah, how do you guys feel about all this DC news, cancellations, possible recastings? Leave all your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. I would appreciate that a lot. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. That'll mean the world to me. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. And until we meet again on the next video, peace.